The following video will provide you with an understanding of the About, Usage, and Update sections under the iPad General Settings tab. By the end of this video, you should have a better understanding of what these options are and how they are used to better your iPad experience.
Now the iPad has a lot of general options that you can set and have a look at stuff, and this is going to take a little bit of time to go through. So I'm going to do the first section and this general tab in two parts. So if we have a look on here at the About section to start with, so the About section is going to give you all the information relating to your iPad, and if you have a look, it also says that there's some news updates and all those sorts of things when I click into those options. So it gives me the name, it gives me the network it's on, it tells me how many songs I've got, videos, photos. So when parents come and ask us as teachers or students actually want to find out where their capacity is gone or what's left or where they're up to, this is the spot to go. So that's under general options and then About. So as one of the rules, we say to our students, you must make sure that there's enough room for all of your school related work to be on here. And at no point in time should anything else encroach upon that. So if the students were running out of space, then we would be coming into here to say, well, look, you've got 49 videos in there, which is an extremely large amount, which would be taking up a lot of room. I can see the capacity of mine, so I've got a 64 gig iPad, and I've used a fairly significant amount of that up with apps and that sort of stuff. It would tell me serial numbers and Wi-Fi numbers and all those sorts of things that could actually be used to sort of monitor and gauge and all of those sorts of devices. And if you have a look, it's got all of those bits and pieces that generally would be used for repair as well. If we have a look at this next bit, software update, this is where traditionally you would have to plug in your iPad to the computer to update it. Which is not the case anymore. Software updates are done what we call incrementally. So whatever changed between one update to the other update, only that gets downloaded. And that can be done via the iPad. But there's two things with this. First one is that you must have the iPad above 50% before it will allow you to install it. That's just a protection measure, which means that if we did it at 1% and it started doing an update and the update was going and you ran out of power, then the iPad would be stuck in limbo. So they've made a protection measure where it must be above 50% before you're allowed to do that. And more importantly is that the update itself will show up with a little 1 next to it, which will give you a notifying marker. A lot of people ask me with updates, I lost apps or something didn't happen, or what happens with updates generally from the software point of view, from this environment that you're working within, just the iPad in general, is that there are some apps that will be supported in the new version and some apps won't. It will all depend on the developer of the app. So if you've got an app on trigonometry and the person that created it hasn't done the updates that are required themselves as the person owning it, then when you do an update, one of those apps may disappear until the developer actually updates that app. And that's an important feature that you need to be remembered. It's not about the software doing it. Then you have months and months of testing before you usually get an update on one of these. If an app disappears, it's generally because the developer hasn't updated it in time or changed something that they've been asked to change, or any number of those issues. So that's software update. The last one is usage. This gives you an idea of what actually is happening on your iPad in a more detailed explanation. So in other words, it'll give you your iCloud storage. So iCloud we'll talk about when we get to it down further. It'll tell me how to manage that storage. It'll also tell me my percentages of battery and when it's going to be updated and all those sorts of things. In here it gives me the specifics of apps. So if I wanted to know where something was actually taking up a lot, so if I look at Monopoly as a game, that's a really big game. And this is where I would caution people buying 16 gig iPads, because if we have a look at this Elements app, it's 1.7 gigabytes. It's a great app for periodic table, but it's a large app. And you can see photos and the camera itself take up a lot, and I can go through and sort of manage each individual app in itself. So storage, battery use, standby time, you just need to remember that that's all under general and the usage part.